What's up, everybody? Welcome back to my channel. So I don't know if I want to keep these glasses on or take them off. I haven't worn these glasses in so long, in like a year or two. Oh my god, I don't have on any necklaces. I feel so not right, but we're good. So what's up, everybody? Welcome back to my channel. If you're new to my channel, what's up? I'm Victoria Desiree. If you're not new to my channel, then welcome back. Thank you so much for being here. Before we get started, I just want to go ahead and say that you should subscribe to my channel. Like, what the hell? Subscribe and hit that post notification button so every time that I post, you won't miss the video. Because after this second video, and I say second because the first video already is uploaded. So after this video, I'm no longer going to be talking about the situation. This is just to kind of get this out in the open. This is such a highly requested video. Anything that I didn't cover in part one, I will be covering today. Today's video is not going to be about the relationship. Part one was more so, I know I'm just like diving right in. But part one was more so like the relationship, being like the cheating, the lying, the manipulation type of stuff. Today is going to be points leading up to me leaving, as far as like when I realized like I gotta get the fuck out of here, what were kind of deal breakers for me, and when I started loving myself. Cheating. So I'm just gonna go ahead and go with the very last time I found out about any texting or anything like that. So it was around like February of 2020. Anyway, it was around February, and I was laying down, and her phone, for some reason, I was just like, check her phone, check her phone, check her phone. And regardless of if something was going on in that at that time, I was just kind of getting the urge of checking her phone, just because I had done it before and I found something. So now it's just like, when my gut goes off, go through it. This was right after we were living in the car. I don't know if I mentioned that we were staying in a car, but we were staying in the car together, and we were kind of switching between her car and my car. And it was just kind of like a little rough patch that we were going through. We moved out of my sister's and we started staying in a car. During this time, it was kind of really hard. She was lying to me about money, and like I said before, I was not working at the time because we had our dog, and I got sick, lost that job. And so it was just easier for us to waste gas on one job versus two. And it was easier just to, you know, with the whole schedule, when we weren't going home to a house, we were going to a car. I would sit in the McDonald's parking lot, work off of Wi-Fi, because her mother turned off our phones due to us not moving in. She was kind of upset about it or whatever. Threw a little fit, turned our phones off, and stopped talking to us, didn't tell us anything. Yeah, we ended up getting on my grandmother's phone line, and she was like, I'll pay your phone bill for like a month or two until y'all can get on y'all's feet or whatever. So we're like, okay, cool. We finally got into an apartment around February. I was laying in the bed, and I picked up her phone, and I started like scrolling through her phone. And I'll leave like little clips of the conversation up here. If there's a little part where it shows pictures of her ex and her, so I'm not going to leave those in here, but I will leave like the conversation. She was asleep next to me, and I was sitting there just scrolling on her phone, and she had a habit of telling me I was lying about the conversations, and she would delete them. So she would be like, that's not what was said, that's a lie, that was never said. So what I started doing was I started taking pictures, or I started recording the whole conversation. Like, at the time, I wasn't really reading it. I just hurry up and grabbed my phone, started recording, and was just scrolling through it. And then later I went back into my phone from my own phone and read the messages and the conversation. And she was telling her ex, I'm not going to go through like all the cheating stuff, this is just the very last time. During that conversation, she was telling her ex, because we went on a trip to Vegas for one of her vacations, and she told her ex that she paid for the whole trip. Was absolutely not the truth at all. She told her ex that she paid for everything, and that she had to use all of the money that she had saved for her to get out of jail and stuff, which is true. But in my defense, I'm not going to pay for someone else to get out of jail. You do the crime, you do the fucking time. And not only that, it didn't happen while we were together. It didn't happen because of me in any type of way. This was prior to us being together. So, of course, that has nothing to do with me. Like, take care of your business, you know? So she's telling her ex that she didn't have any money, blah, 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 this and that. But yet she was still spending money on shoes and clothes and stuff for Instagram. Make it make sense. Also telling her ex, like, I miss whenever we went on blah 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 trip. It was the best time of my life, da da da, whatever. And that, like, obviously hurt my feelings because, like, we're in a relationship and we've been on multiple trips together, and, like, you know, like, to tell someone that, like, that's pretty fucked up. She was telling her personal stuff, like, oh, well, her family says this to her. She doesn't really talk to her family. She doesn't have a good relationship with this person. And it's like, you're telling this girl, first of all, a lie. And two, my whole life. Like, that's just, first of all, disrespectful. Like, what does, you know, me, okay, but to tell her about my family, my life, you know, stuff like that, my relationship with my family, like, it's pretty fucked up. I didn't even know what to do. So at this time, I sat up and I hit her. And I don't condone any, like, domestic violence or any type of physical violence or anything like that within a relationship. Like I said, this was just a toxic relationship, and it brought out some very ugly sides of me. And it brought out the worst in me. So I don't recommend it. I don't condone it, but it happened. I learned from it and I'm moving forward. So anyway, I got up and I started packing my stuff, and she was like, those were from a couple months ago. And even though the messages were from a couple months ago, it was new and news to me. So it bothered me. And it was while we were living in the car. It was while we were staying in, hotels. It was while we were living with my family. So to me, that's just disrespectful. Like, you could have lived at your own parents' house, you know, your own mother's house, to be doing your own stuff, you know. So then that happened, and of course I just signed a lease, a 6-month lease with her. So I was like, you know what, 6 months is not a long time. I'm fixing to thug it out, whatever. After that particular time, she was apologizing. She was taking me to do stuff. The next month was her birthday. I took her shopping at the Galleria. If you don't know what that is, it's a really big mall in Houston. And I took her shopping, told her she can get whatever she want, no price tags, no limits, just whatever she wanted she could get. I took her to go eat breakfast in the morning, and I threw her a little party. During this time, her mother was a very, like, big toxic thing in our life. Well, especially for me. And it got to a point to where, like, I was praying and I was asking God, you know, remove her from our life if she's toxic, or if it's me being the toxic one, please remove me from her life. You know, I in no way want to be toxic to anyone. Maybe I'm the toxic one and I'm being controlling. Like, I didn't, you know, because you know how some people take you and they try to separate you from your family. I didn't know if that's really what I was doing, and I didn't realize it, or I didn't notice it. And maybe I was finding everything that her mom did was to be toxic. So I was kind of blaming myself too. And I was just talking to God and telling him, you know, whoever it is, whether it's her, whether it's me, like, please remove the problem. That morning of her birthday, I knew she wanted to go eat at the Breakfast Club. So she was like, well, my mom said something about eating at the Breakfast Club too, whatever. So I took the initiative to text her mom, even though I wasn't talking to her mom or her sister. And I was like, hey, I'm taking blah, blah, blah to go eat at the Breakfast Club. If you wanted to come, y'all are more than welcome. She was like, thank you for the invite, whatever. We went, we ate, cool. While we were leaving, her mom was like, oh, and named her sister. And she was like, go with them, was like kind of pushing her sister on us. And I told her, like, hey, you know, like, I wanted to take you to do something because I wanted to take her to the mall and, you know, take her to buy stuff and whatever, because she was very materialistic. So I knew that that would make her happy. She was like, so you don't want her to come? And I was like, well, I don't want to seem like a bad guy. So if you want her to come, like, she can come, you know, that's your sister, whatever. But it was, like, really weird because every time she hung out with her sister, it was like her and her sister, and I would be left out. It would be like them two kind of like walking ahead of me and leaving me behind, or I would be walking and then they would stop and start talking and leave me, kind of thing. So, and I mean, that's her sister, so I'm not like saying that that's a problem or anything like that, but I always felt like the odd one out. So when it came to a lot of like family stuff or anything that they did, I never wanted to really go because I didn't want to feel like I was just sitting there like this, like, just sitting there awkward. And sometimes I would try to join in a conversation and they were like, kinda, and it would just be more so of them. Came time for her to be like, nah, you know, I'm just gonna spend it with my girl, blah, blah, blah. Her mom kind of got upset about that. So she texted her and was like, you know, you don't think I want to spend time with you. It's your birthday, blah, blah. Mind you, the girl's turning 25. Like, she has a girlfriend. You would think, I don't know. Like, I don't even know what to say here. So anyway, so after that, we went to the mall, got her clothes. Okay, cool. I don't know if it was later that night or the next night. We had plans I made plans to throw her like a little surprise get together, whatever. I went and I got her balloons. I got her, well, which she ended up finding out about it, but I got her a section. I went and got her balloons. I got her cupcakes. I got her outfits made. Mind you, 2 times my outfit got messed up. And before that, her mom was like, oh, let's all match, me, you, and the sister. So the mom, my girlfriend, her sister. And I'm like, so at first my ex was on board with it. And I'm like, I wanted me and you to match, you know, I wanted you to kind of wear what you wear and us kind of compliment you, you know what I'm saying? Like, if you're, like, her colors were green, white, and black. So she was wearing white, her hoodie was white, and it had her at name airbrushed on there, which was my idea. Airbrushed on there, and then we all had our own at names on there. So, like, I had good vibes because that was my Instagram name. She had her Instagram name, blah, blah, blah. A couple nights before that, we were going to eat at IHOP. And I was meeting her there. We were going to have a serious talk or whatever because I told her, like, a lot's been on my mind. So it was like a week leading up to her birthday. And the whole ride there, I'm praying and I'm like, God, please remove her mom from our life. Please, she's so negative. She's so toxic. She's so problematic. She's so hateful. She's so conniving. Like, she's so vindictive, you know, and I'm just naming all these things. And then I said, but if it's me, God, please find a way to remove me. And so on her birthday, after all that happened, her and her mom ends up arguing. And, you know, all the days leading up to that day, everything was cool. And the day of her birthday, they argue. And I'm like, that was God. Like, they stopped talking. Her mom didn't come to her birthday her birthday at the club where I got the section and stuff, like nothing. So she was like, you know what, I'm not talking to my mom no more, blah, blah, this and that. I told her about the whole prayer thing. And I guess if you don't have a relationship with God the way that I do, which of course you all have your own relationship, but if you don't believe in God, or if you know, you don't actually have a relationship with God, it's different believing in God and actually having a relationship with him, talking to him, understanding him, having faith in him. And I do very much so. So I knew there's no way I prayed for that a whole week leading up to her birthday, and that day something happens and it wasn't God. I definitely took that for what it was, and I was like, this is definitely God here. They stopped talking, and of course they started back talking because that's her mom. I realized what I was doing wrong in that time. Instead of praying for her, I needed to pray for myself, because I always prayed for her and I always prayed for her well-being and for her mom to stop talking to her and for her to see this. And you can't force someone to see something unless they really want to see it. So, yeah, it just didn't really hit her the way that it hit me, you know? And so I started changing up my prayer. Of course, I still prayed for her, but then I started praying for God to give me peace and for God to, you know, remove toxicity out of my life and to protect me from, you know, any weapons trying to form against me. Okay, God, please don't let them prosper. And I started praying for myself, and I started wanting more for myself. And the more that I did that, the more I started kind of like not wanting to be with her anymore. I gave up hope in that relationship. I realized that if she loved me, if she ever cared about me, like, she wouldn't have put me through those things, you know. And her mom would always say, like, you don't love yourself, so I don't love you, you know. And her mom had done very hateful things to her and said hateful things to her, and I never did. Like, I never hurt her in that way. I may have told her things that maybe wasn't my place, but her being my significant other, you know, I want her to know when someone's doing her wrong, because I don't like to see it. Well, obviously that backfired on me. After that, it was May, which was our anniversary. Had a great anniversary. I took her out to eat to this steak restaurant, Vic and Anthony's. Our check was like $400. Let her order whatever she wanted. It was like $400 or $500. Order whatever she wanted. We got an Airbnb downtown. We went to the zoo. To the aquarium. Did we go to the zoo? You know, we had a great time, but it was just like I didn't love it, because I was falling out of love with her. You know, I realized that I was loving myself more. The next month was June, which was my birthday, and she got me a sex. She threw me a little birthday get together, and like she was trying, and it was like our relationship was okay, but it wasn't what I wanted, you know, because I no longer wanted that. It got to a point to where like I started thinking about her family and what kind of people she comes from, and how her mom would tell her 5-year-old niece, oh, your mom's a hoe, and your mom this, and your mom's a bitch, and your mom's that, you know. And I didn't want that for my kids. I knew when I had kids, I didn't want their grandmother to talk about me to them, you know. And like I just thought about everything, and like how everything was so materialistic, and we were living paycheck to paycheck because materialistic things were more important than experience in life. And it wasn't for me. I didn't have any friends. I was depressed. I was crying all the time. I was, you know, like it wasn't for me. So I started making money a lot, and I think it started to bother her because I was making more money than what she was making. I was making like $600 to $1,000 a night, and that's what she was bringing home every week or two. And when we were staying in the car, she was lying to me about her checks. She would tell me her checks were only $200 to $300. Not that she has to tell me, but that's just the kind of relationship that we had. We never hid money from each other. You know, so she kind of lied to me about it, and she told me she only had like $200. Come to find out, she had a whole $1,000 in her account. So we were, you know, she wasn't trying to get us food, and she would go to work and she would eat, and I would be hungry all day. And like, it was just not, for someone to care about you, that's not what they would do. I know if I love and care about someone, I would probably 9 times out of 10 times out of 10, make sure they eat and be like, nah, I'm not really hungry. I don't know. I just don't really have an appetite, even though I'm starving. So, yeah, but with all that stress, I lost like 45 pounds, and I was just, you know, not myself anymore. I had family members like talking to me saying, how'd you lose so much weight? What drugs are you doing? Like, how'd you lose so much weight? Are you working out? Are you eating different? And I had people on Instagram telling me, you know, you look so good. And while I appreciated that and I loved it, because I did love myself at that time, I was, you know, falling in love with how I looked for the first time in my entire life. I was going through the worst time in my life. Like, how is that possible? Like, you look your best, but you absolutely feel your worst. Can I have both? Can I be happy and can I look good? Another thing that kind of like pushed me away would be that like we would be arguing, or I would have just found out that she cheated on me or something, and she would go on Twitter or Instagram, and her caption would be like, people say for life but don't really be meaning the for life, or people would be saying forever but don't really know what forever is. Like, and she would say stuff like that to make it seem like it was everyone else. Or she would do like false positivity things, and she would be like, stop hurting people and hurt people, and like she would just do all this stuff to make it seem like something was being done to her, when in reality it was her doing the dirt. And so it was just really crazy to me, because it's like she has all these followers really thinking this is the type of person that she is. Like, she's just a great, amazing person. And another thing is all of her followers, like, and supporters, she like, she never thanked them, you know. She never was a genuine person. She does what she does for clout, and she does what she does for views, and it's just never really genuine. That's not who I am. That's not what I want to be set for me, you know. Like, while we were living in the car, I didn't mind that people knew that. While we were, you know, living from pillow to post, I didn't mind that people knew that. I didn't mind people knew that we were human and that we struggled. And she wanted this life and this version of her that existed on the internet. And I'm like, please just be the same person that you are on and offline, you know. And we would often argue about that, because I'm like, this isn't really who you are. This isn't really life, you know. Like, it was just so crazy. And like, I would come up with designs, or I would come up with ideas, and she would steal my ideas, or she would talk shit about me, about how I would wear something or how I would pick out something. And then I would leave and come back and she had it on. And it was just so crazy to me how negative she was to me. And she would throw in my face that my family doesn't care about me and that she's the only person that cares about me. She just wants to see me do good in life. And it's like, do you? Or are you doing the bare minimum to make it seem that way? Like, I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised if she's cheating on her. Well, she was texting me and DMing me, asking me if I would have her baby, and she still was with that girl. So, with who she's with now. But post on social media like she's just the happiest person. That's why I don't fall for any facade that someone puts on for social media. I don't fall for the couples that just seem picture perfect, because you never know what's going on behind closed doors. I smiled for a couple pictures with her, but anyway, but yeah, so I started praying for myself. I started making money. I started trying to not see her as often, only in passing. Like, when she was getting up for work, I was coming in. When she was coming home, I was leaving, so we weren't really seeing each other. Then I would be busy at night making money, so I wasn't really responding to her text messages. I started hanging out with my friends. I started drinking, and I started doing drugs to cope. I was taking pills to stay awake. I was drinking every day. Oh my God, why am I about to cry? I was like terrible, and in the worst way. I was abusing myself. Like, I was never not drunk. Big Hennessy bottle by myself on ice. I was drinking Diesel, which, if you don't know what that is, it's like Everclear. It's like one shot, you're super drunk. And I was filling up water bottles, and I was going places with it. And I would have, like, how this is on ice, and I would wait till the ice was kind of small, and I would pour the rest of the alcohol in there, and I would just like shake it up and just drink it like that. And doing a lot of things to keep my mind off of pain and keep my mind off of, you know, the whole relationship. And then I ended up moving in with my real dad, my stepmom, my two brothers, and my sister. And it was a big change for me, because I had never really been around them, and I've never lived with them, and I had only seen them like ever so often. And when I lived over there, like, it was uncomfortable for me, because I had never been there, and I like didn't want to touch certain things, and I didn't want to get up at certain times, and, you know, I just felt like a guest in the house for a while. And so I started staying out late, and I started hanging out with random people, meeting new people, and I had fun doing those things. But then I realized, like, I wasn't growing, I wasn't healing, I was just subsiding the pain with the alcohol and the drug abuse. And I had to settle down, and I had to really just stop. There was a point in time where, while I was there, I was still trying to reach out to my ex, because it's hard to completely just shut someone out and move on, no matter what anyone says. I didn't do that. So I moved out, and like, it got to a point. There was one specific day where she said she was going to this amusement park, and she was going as this one of her coworkers plus one, and she didn't want me to go because she didn't want him to feel left out. And it was just all this stuff. Really, she was going with the girl she's with now. And that day, I just couldn't do it anymore. I called my mom. I was crying hysterically. I was like, Mom, I don't know why I came back here, because I left for like a week, and then I went back. And I was like, I don't know why I'm here. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't want this for myself. I'm not happy. And she was like, then leave. And so I went and I stayed with my friend Erica. Then I went and stayed with my friend Brianna. And then I went and I stayed with my real dad and my stepmom and brothers and sister. And during that time, like, I would get up early in the morning, like 6 o'clock in the morning. I would go on a walk. I would dibble and dabble. I would take a shot. I would smoke me whatever. And I would start my day and I would just sit there and I would think. And there was one specific time where my ex had reached out to me and she was like, can we go to the amusement park? The same one, which I'm just realizing. And she was like, can we hang out, you know, whatever. She was like, I bought you some stuff from Victoria's Secret. And of course it was materialistic stuff, which is not what I wanted, but it's what she got me. So she ended up getting me the stuff, brought it to me, and we sat outside and we talked for a little minute. And the girl that she's with now, or that she was with, or whatever the situation is, she ended up texting her phone and she was like, hey, love, something, something, something. I slid it up because I was playing a song on her phone. I just swiped it up and I said, hey, blah, 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 said whatever, whatever. And I put on my song and I was just dancing and, you know, doing whatever, because at this point I didn't care. Like, I was already gone. Like, it's nothing for me to not talk to anymore. I seen what I needed to see and that was that. So we get to the house. She was like, can I have a kiss? I said, absolutely not. She said, can I have a hug? I said, yes, you can. I patted her. She was like, well, can I get out and hug you, right? And I said, absolutely not. And I went inside, and a couple days later, she came back and asked if we can talk. I said, yes. We sat in the car. I said, I'm not going to yell at you. You're not going to yell at me. If I feel like I'm getting angry, I will get out of the car. If I feel like you're getting angry, I will get out of the car. I want us to have a civil conversation, you know, whatever. We sat there. Of course, I wanted to yell. She started yelling. I said, I told you if you started yelling at me, I was getting out of the car and I'm not doing this. Got out of the car and I stopped at the door. And I stopped at the door because I was like, I'm going to give her a couple of seconds. If she comes over here and she tries to talk to me, okay, then maybe she should. Then, you know, maybe this is what was supposed to happen. If she texts me to come back, okay, you know, whatever. She didn't do any of that. She turned around, burned off, and blocked me for the whole night. I was blowing up her phone, which I'll leave those up here as well. I was trying to contact her all night. I was at home crying. And she said that her phone died, and then when she got home, she fell asleep. A couple days later, I went to go pick up my Lulus. If you know anything about Lulus, they're $100 tights. Of course, I was going to pick them up. So I went to go pick up my tights. She was like, I don't have them. I don't know where they are, blah, 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 this and that. So I was like, I'll look for them. Like, I don't want another reason to come over here. She was like, no, leave them here. Let's be toxic together. Let's have sex. Let's do this. Let's do that. We haven't had sex in so long. Mind you, the last 9 months of our relationship, I didn't do anything to her. From her birthday on forward, I did not do anything, and I left in September. So I was like, I don't want to do anything. I'm not doing none of that, blah, 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 whatever, whatever. And she kind of got mad about it. And she was like, can I have a kiss? I said, no. She was just asking if we can be toxic, saying to leave stuff so that I can come over, leave a hair tie so I can come get it. And I told her, no, I didn't want another reason to come over there. And I got my stuff and I left. A little bit after that, she asked if we can go out to dinner because I left a pair of my shoes. Or maybe this happened before. She asked if we can go to dinner. I said yes. I mean, to lunch, because I was door dashing and she was on break or off or something. I said sure. We went and ate at Olive Garden. And that whole day, I will also leave the screenshots of that up. She was telling me I'm so beautiful. She can't wait to marry me. She wants to make me the happiest girl in the world. And she was talking about sex a lot. And I was completely declining all of that, which there will be proof as well. And I just really wanted to focus on myself. And there was just a lot of those incidences, but that specific day when I went over there to go get the tights from her, she was trying to have sex with me. Later that night, she popped out with that girl. There was a picture of her and the girl, out eating somewhere. She posted it real quick. There was another incident where, she was still texting me, trying to talk to me, and she didn't know that she had me on Snapchat because I had to make a new one because my old Snapchat got deleted. So I added her and she added me back, and they were doing the fruit roll-up challenge, you know, where you put it in your mouth, it hangs, and you like to like get it up. So she was doing that, and it was her girlfriend, because she worked with her at the time, which is I guess how she meets all her girlfriends, because that's how she met me. Same store and everything. And the girl was like sucking it up with her mouth. I mean, my ex was sucking it up with her mouth, and the girl like swoops in and grabs it out of her mouth and eats it. And I text her and I was like, if someone is just your coworker, if someone is just your friend, they're not comfortable enough to eat something out of your mouth. Like, I don't care what you say. I don't care. None of that. Like, the only point was that she just kept lying to me about it. And it was just little stuff like that. And I'm like, she's never going to change. She's not changing at all. So I ended up just like focusing on myself. I started finding new crafts. I started, you know, just falling in love with myself, starting my healing journey from now, that relationship and things that happened when I was a child. I wanted to heal from everything, or start my healing from everything. I really don't believe that you ever fully heal, because I think for the rest of your life, you're going to go through things that you're going to have to heal from. So your healing never really ends. But you kind of find closure within things, and you learn how to cope with certain things. And I feel like if you dig deep enough, it might still hurt, but you kind of learn the lesson that needed to be learned, or you kind of get an understanding from that. But yeah, I don't know. That's just like the little stuff. I started realizing my worth. I started realizing what I didn't want. Like, I just couldn't picture for the rest of my life me settling. I couldn't picture me trying to make sense of what I was going through and trying to say that that was love. And I don't know, but yeah. But it felt good to really put myself first, and to start loving myself, and to find my worth, and to realize that you don't have to settle. Don't focus on who doesn't love you, because someone will. Don't worry about when you leave what's going to happen afterwards, because I can guarantee you it's going to be better than what you're being put through. And it's crazy whenever I like stop talking to my ex, how many genuine people I met, how many genuine people I started talking to and created relationships with. And I think God really sent them people to me, because it would be people in the morning, they would send me a positive quote and be like, hey, I hope you have a good day today. And they would send me a little positive quote, or one of my friends would send me scriptures. And it was just amazing to know that if you're a good person, you're going to attract good, you know. Just because you end up in a toxic relationship does not mean that you're toxic. It doesn't mean because that's who you attract, because that's who you are. Toxic people attract anyone. If you're in a toxic relationship and you want to see the good in them people, don't think about the good that they showed you when you first met them, because that's how all relationships start. No one's going to meet you and say, hi, I'm an asshole. Hi, I'm a cheater. Hi, I'm a liar. Hi, I'm a manipulator. You know, nobody is going to start off like that. It's a wolf in sheep's clothing, y'all. Like, they will come as everything that you have ever thought that you wanted or imagined, and turn out to be some of the hardest people. So set your boundaries, love yourself, focus on you, take as much time as you need. Don't rush into a relationship, create friendships, create bonds. And yeah, love yourself, put yourself first. Don't settle for anything less than that. But yeah, so that was just the ending of everything. That was how we ended. That was, you know, what kind of got me over her. That was the toxic things that I did. I hope I covered everything. If I'm missing anything, you can ask questions and I'll do a Q&A for one of my videos for anything that I left out. But other than that, thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you for understanding. Thank you for the positive feedback on my last video also, because I got some really nice DMs. And yeah, so that's pretty much it. Thank you guys so much for watching, and yeah, I'll see you in the next one.